Hello? Okay, I'll tell them. It's Friday video time! It's Friday video time in the house, and today I want to share with you my top 20 tips for web design. For the past 2 years, I've been looking at websites for a living. Gosh, I'm getting old. And I know that there are key things that you cannot overlook when you're thinking about your online presence. Whether you're starting from scratch or you're revamping your existing websites, these tips will come in handy to make your website the best it can be. So I'm about to get started because I know I can ramble and we have 20 tips to go. So let's start. Tip number 1 is that you have to determine the purpose of your site. You have to determine its mission, what you want to achieve with this website, and also you have to be able to convey that story. Tip number 2, everything related to your design, your illustrations, your aesthetics, your badges has to reinforce your mission, your purpose, and your story. People, upon landing on your site, have to have somewhat of an idea of what this site will be about. So always in terms of design, have in mind the big picture. Tip number 3, you have to keep things consistent, not only with design, but also with content. Your brand has to make sense. It cannot be schizophrenic. So keep things tidy, keep things in harmony, and I'm sure your audience will be also grateful. Tip number 4, too many messages, too many stories, too many badges to click on, too many calls to action, too many decisions to make results in noise. So keep things simple. Tip number 5, include a descriptive message about your website below the header. This is called your tagline, and it helps people get an idea of what the site is about really quickly. Tip number 6, be very selective about everything that you put on your website. It's not about quantity, it's about quality and value that you're providing for your audience. Tip number 7, the internet has changed the rules of the game. Now it's about first impressions, but also second, third, fourth impressions. Sometimes your audience will not be ready for you on the first attempt, but maybe they will on the 5th. So make sure that your website is creating the right impressions every single time your audience lands on your website. Tip number 8, do not forget to include a beautiful picture of yourself above the fold of your website. It doesn't matter if you're shy, it doesn't matter if you're an introvert. This is very important to build trust and loyalty. So include that smiling picture of yourself on your website. Tip number 9, do not be afraid to open the doors to your personal life. You don't have to disclose all of your intimacies. You don't have to share all of your secrets. No, but you can seem more approachable. Share some images of your studio when it's messy, when it's clean. Share some behind the scenes to your latest collection. Be approachable. Remember that people do not necessarily connect with companies. They don't necessarily connect with brands, but they connect with people. So show them the person behind the brand. Tip number 10 is to keep your brand concise all throughout the web. It's not only about your website, but also your social media presence. So use the same profile picture that you use on your website for Twitter, for Facebook, for all those social media sites, and also the aesthetics, the fonts, the look and feel, the color palette. Keep things concise everywhere on the web. Tip number 11, remember that you are your brand. So every single time that you're struggling to come up with names for your collections or titles for your headline or the 3 adjectives that describe your brand, do not try to be all professional, do not try to be all serious. If you're not those adjectives in real life, do not try to make your brand be that thing. When it's about you, it flows so much easier. Tip number 12, and this is my favorite. Do not clog the sidebar of your website with junk. Do not just splash on there every single big, slight, little Miss Sunshine badge that you find on the web. No, keep it tidy, keep it simple, keep it clean. I warned you. Tip number 13, be thoughtful about the layout of your website. It's not only about pretty. I have to keep reminding myself of that. It's also about the navigation. Where do you want your readers to go first, second, third, and so on? If you include links to nonsensical websites, then you're gonna kick people out of your page. You don't want that. Make sure that everything on there is relevant and it's friendly for browsing. And speaking of navigation, tip number 14, everything that's important should be easy to find. Your about page, your contact information, your shop, your products for sale, your services for sale. So make sure to give them a very predominant space on your website. Tip number 15, you have got to provide a roadmap for your website's navigation. I know this because every single time I go to Disney World, the first thing they do is give me a map. I open it up and I see in the best attractions, big stars. You cannot miss this. You cannot miss this other thing. You cannot miss this here. It's the same thing with your website. You have to make sure to tell your readers what they cannot miss. You can do that with stars, you can do that with fonts, you can do that with shapes, illustrations, arrows, whatever you must. But you have to make sure to be the CEO of your navigation and grab your audience by the hand to show them what they must see before leaving your website. Tip number 16. Whenever possible, simplify your content into categories. That makes it much easier to find and much easier to organize. Tip number 17. We are almost done. Fonts. Fonts are very important for your website's design. Now, I don't want you to use all of the fonts in the universe. Stick to 3 to keep your brand really neat. Tip number 18. When picking a font, make sure that it corresponds with the message, with the purpose, and with the story of your website. If you're a criminal lawyer, do not pick a font that's artsy, cutesy, whimsical, and curly, and playgroundy. No, it has to match the brand. Tip number 19. When choosing colors for your website, try to select 3 to 5 colors, no more. And if you're struggling to find the right color palette, I recommend a wonderful resource called Color Lovers. You can go there, it's wonderful for inspiration, and I'm sure you'll find everything that you're looking for right there. And finally, tip number 20, do not be afraid of white space. White space is not emptiness. White space is not that overlooked corner of your website that you hope no one looks at because it looks like you didn't have anything to put on there. No, white space is amazing. It's the opportunity for everything, your content, your design, to wiggle a little, to dance, to breathe. So include lots of white space. It looks great, so please do it. Whew, we are done for the day, and I hope these web design prompts really help you awesomize your online presence. And make sure before you leave to insert in the comment section below your aficionada or aficionado web design secrets, because honestly, I'm dying to hear what you've got, and I know everyone tuning in is too. So thank you so much for raising your hand, letting me know that you're here. I am so grateful to have you. I'll catch you again next time. Bye-bye.